Welcome back. We're continuing our exploration into life's journey using Dante's Divine Comedy as, well, our map, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. And we find ourselves on the first terrace of Purgatory now. This is where souls are grappling with pride and learning, really learning the lesson of humility. We want to see what insights we can pull from these, centuries-old lines that might actually help us navigate our own lives today.
Thinking about things like ambition, fame.
Recognition, and maybe most importantly, the quiet strength of humility. We'll touch on Umberto Aldobrandeschi, Oderisi de Gubbio, and Provenzan Salvani. Three key figures here.
Okay, so let's start with that image that opens the canto. The souls bent double under these huge boulders, and
Yeah.
it's really striking. What does that immediately bring up for you?
Well, the sheer weight, right. It's such a physical, visceral metaphor for how pride, that constant need to be on top, to be seen as better, how it just weighs us down.
It really does, like an actual burden.
Yeah, think about the energy it takes,
Right.
Maintaining that image, that ambition, unchecked. It can literally crush your spirit.
It's like carrying your own ego on your back, but magnified. And interestingly, even while they're carrying this weight, they're praying, reciting the Lord's Prayer, but it's slightly different.
Exactly. They've adapted it. And what's really key is they're not just praying for themselves, they're praying for all of humanity. It shows this first step towards looking beyond the self. Even in their punishment, they're reaching for a connection, acknowledging we're all in this together, sort of. That's a big step away from prideful self-absorption.
That makes sense. Okay, so from that heavy scene, we then get the perspective of Oderisi de Gubbio. He was a famous artist, an illuminator.
A renowned one, yes. And his reflection is fascinating. He talks about how quickly earthly fame just evaporates.
Right? Give examples.
He does. He points to Cimabue in painting everyone thought he was the best. Then suddenly Giotto comes along and surpasses him. Same thing in poetry with the two Guidos, Guinizelli, then Cavalcanti. Oderisi basically says, oh, vainglory of human powers.
That's the quote, yeah.
It really drives home how temporary it all is. He compares it to grass, a greening that comes and goes. It's green for a bit, then it withers.
That feels incredibly relevant today, doesn't it? In our celebrity-obsessed social media world where fleeting fame seems like the goal.
Absolutely. Oderisi is giving us a warning from 700 years ago saying, hey, this stuff you're chasing, likes, followers, being the talk of the town, it doesn't last. Focus on something more enduring.
So if not fame, then what? That kind of brings us to the next figure, Provenzan Salvani.
Right, Provenzan Salvani. He was a big deal in his time, very powerful Ghibelline leader in Siena.
Okay.
But the story Dante highlights isn't about his power. It's about an act of incredible humility. He needed to raise ransom money for a friend captured by Charles of Anjou.
And what did he do?
He went into the main square in Siena, the Campo, and basically begged, publicly humbled himself, this powerful man, asking ordinary people for money.
Wow, that's quite something.
It is. And Dante tells us this single act, this moment of setting aside his immense pride for someone else, was so powerful it earned him passage straight to purgatory, bypassing ante-purgatory.
So the lesson there is, it's about vulnerability, about connection.
I think so. It suggests that true strength isn't about asserting dominance or never showing weakness. It's maybe found in our capacity for empathy, our willingness to serve others, to put our ego aside for a greater good.
It shows it's never too late to change, either, and that sometimes the things that feel most humiliating are actually the noblest.
Precisely. Recognizing our limitations, connecting with others, that's where real strength lies, not just in pucking ourselves up.
It's also kind of interesting. Within this whole discussion about humility, Dante slips in a little something through Oderisi's words.
Ah, yes. The subtle hint.
Oderisi mentions the two Guidos in poetry and then sort of implies maybe someone else will surpass them both.
Right. Widely interpreted as Dante himself subtly nodding to his own future poetic greatness. A little touch of, well, authorial pride, perhaps, right in the middle of a canto condemning it.
It adds a layer, doesn't it? Makes it feel very human.
It does. It reminds us that this journey, letting go of ego, embracing humility, it's complex. It's not like flipping a switch. Recognizing pride is step one, but working on it is a lifelong thing.
So thinking about the listener, what's the main takeaway you'd want them to hold on to from Canto 11?
I think it's about perspective. Recognizing that chasing external validation, fame, worldly success, it's fleeting. It's like that grass Oderisi mentioned.
Right.
True growth, real progress on our own journey through life seems to involve understanding that and embracing humility, not as weakness, but as a genuine source of strength, connection, and maybe even peace.
So maybe a question for you listening. Think about a time, perhaps, when letting go of pride or choosing a moment of humility actually led to something positive. Unexpected growth, maybe a deeper connection.
Yeah, those moments can be surprisingly powerful, worth reflecting on.
Well, this has been our 45th deep dive.
We hope you join us next time as we continue our journey through Purgatory. Until then.
Farewell.